Hello, I'm Maruk Said, your microbiology guide. Let's explore in-depth micro techniques and uncover groundbreaking insight together on this educational journey into the fascinating realms of microbes.
Every single cell in your body contains the exact same genetic instruction manual. Whether it is a brain cell handling your memories or a skin cell protecting your hand, they both carry the exact same complete set of DNA. The reason they behave so differently is that a cell doesn't read the whole book. A skin cell only opens the specific chapters it needs to function as skin, and it simply ignores the rest.
If you have watched till here, don't forget to subscribe to Family of Science Lovers. Press the bell icon button so you are always updated.
This brings up an enormous logistical challenge for the cell: how to manage literally millions of pages of unused instructions. To handle this, the cell uses a master archiving system known as Heterochromatin. Heterochromatin organizes the DNA into distinct, densely packed zones where genes are kept completely quiet and inactive. These tightly bundled areas are kept physically separate from the open, active regions where the cell is actively reading its instructions. A cell's identity depends on reading the right genes, and it depends equally on successfully locking away the irrelevant ones. This locking mechanism is entirely physical. Long, loose strands of DNA rapidly loop, fold, and tightly spool up until they form a dense, heavy block.
Download our microbiology study app made for researchers like you.
Because these bundles are packed so incredibly tightly, the molecular machinery that normally reads DNA simply cannot squeeze inside. The information is literally blocked off by the heavy packaging. This packaging is so thick that we can actually see it with an electron microscope. In this image of an actual cell nucleus, you can spot these black clumped regions pressed against the outer edges, sitting in contrast to the lighter material inside. The genes stored inside those dark clumps are not deleted or destroyed. They are simply squeezed shut, kept quiet by pure structural density. The cell maintains two different types of these packed archives. The first is called Constitutive Heterochromatin, and it acts as the permanent structural vault of the genome. This first system is locked down forever in every cell, staying bundled to act like thick, load-bearing walls that hold the chromosome together. The second type, Facultative Heterochromatin, acts like a rotating special collection, with reading rooms flipping between brightly lit and completely dark. This archive is highly flexible. In a heart cell, the instructions for growing hair are neatly packed away here. But in a hair follicle cell, those exact same instructions are unpacked, opened, and fully readable. By using both systems at once, the cell guarantees that its delicate chromosomes have rigid, permanent stability, while keeping the flexibility to adapt to exactly what the body needs. This heavy packaging also serves as a physical shield. Inside the bustling environment of a cell, loose, open strands of DNA are highly fragile and easily damaged. Certain sections of our genetic code repeat the exact same sequences over and over again. Left loose, these repeating strings have a dangerous tendency to get tangled up with each other, or accidentally snap and recombine in the wrong order. To prevent this, heterochromatin acts as molecular armor. It tightly binds up these risky, repeating segments so they cannot thrash around or interact chaotically. This defensive bundling is essential when a cell divides. Cell division places enormous physical stress on DNA, and without those vulnerable sections safely wrapped up, the strands would easily break apart. Heterochromatin is an active, heavy-duty shield, preserving the overall health of your genetic code your entire life. All of this raises an interesting question. How do scientists study genetic vaults that are specifically designed to be tightly packed, dark, and completely inactive? To solve this, researchers use a technique they call FISH. It acts as a highly specialized molecular neon highlighter. By applying chemical tags that are engineered to stick only to specific DNA sequences, scientists can light up the packed archives. In this image, those glowing blue clusters represent the tightly bundled zones, revealing their distinct borders against the dark void. Seeing these clear boundaries proved that the nucleus is not a random floating soup of genetic material. It is a strictly zoned and rigidly mapped city. Because this organization is so precise, The stakes are very high if the cell's archiving system fails and the molecular padlocks break open. When that happens, the cell faces a dual threat. Dangerous genes that were safely locked away can suddenly spill into the active workspace, or vital genes that the cell desperately needs might mistakenly get trapped inside the vault. This specific loss of structure directly contributes to serious health issues. During human development, misfiled genes lead to severe developmental disorders, and later in life, this exact kind of archiving failure drives the progression of cancer. In fact, cancer often behaves like a cellular identity crisis. It occurs when the library shelves collapse, the books are thrown onto the floor, and the cell loses its designated set of instructions. A cell's success relies heavily on the quiet, tightly packed vaults of silenced DNA.
Today, we're diving into a really fascinating paradox in genetics, how a gene that looks absolutely perfect on paper can somehow cause a devastating disease. And the answer isn't in the code itself, but in its silent partner. So let's start with a clinical puzzle. Imagine this. You sequence a patient's gene and the code is perfect, not a single error, but they're suffering from a severe genetic disorder. How on earth is that possible? Well, the answer isn't in the A's, T's, C's, and G's of the genetic code, but in how that code is read, or more importantly, how it's silenced. And the key to this entire puzzle is something called heterochromatin. You can think of it as the silent partner of the genome, or even the dark matter of our DNA. It's this vast, kind of mysterious part of our genetic material that scientists are really only now beginning to understand, and it has massive implications for human disease. So what is heterochromatin exactly? Okay, picture your DNA as this enormous library just packed with books. Heterochromatin is like taking whole sections of those books, slamming them shut and locking them away on a shelf that no one can reach. All the information is still there, but it's completely inaccessible. And it's not just about silencing genes. This super dense packing is also the very scaffolding that gives our chromosomes their shape and stability. But here's the thing, this silence isn't all the same. It's not a one-size-fits-all situation. Our genome actually has two different flavors of heterochromatin. A good way to think about them is as a permanent guard and an adaptable sentry. Both are critical, but they do very different jobs. First up, we have constitutive heterochromatin. That's our permanent guard. This DNA is locked down tight, always condensed, and it forms the structural backbone of our chromosomes in every single cell. Then you have facultative heterochromatin. This is the adaptable sentry, the real strategist. It can silence or activate genes depending on a cell's specific job, which is absolutely crucial for development and for giving cells their unique identities. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does a cell actually tell these two types apart? Well, it uses these tiny chemical tags, almost like molecular fingerprints. The permanent, constitutive type is marked with a tag called H3K9ME3. In contrast, the dynamic, facultative type uses a different tag, H3K27ME3. You can think of that one as a reversible do not disturb sign that the cell can hang on genes it only needs at specific times. So, who are the molecular architects behind all this? For the permanent guard heterochromatin, you've got proteins like HP1A and enzymes like Sub39H acting as the enforcers. For the adaptable sentry type, the master regulators are the polycomb repressive complexes. And here's a fantastic clinical example. A non-coding RNA called X is the key player that orchestrates the silencing of an entire X chromosome in female mammals. When that process goes wrong, it's linked to serious developmental conditions. And this brings us to the most crucial point. This incredibly elegant system of gene silencing is fundamental to our health. So, what happens when these molecular guards fail? What happens when this silence is broken? Well, the consequences can be absolutely catastrophic. The path from that failure to an actual disease is often surprisingly direct. First, the regulation of heterochromatin just fails. This leads to what we call aberrant gene expression. Genes that are supposed to be off suddenly switch on, or vice versa. And the end result is a clinical disease, a direct consequence of this epigenetic breakdown. And this is where we see the devastating real-world impact. When that adaptable sentry, the facultative heterochromatin, goes haywire, it's often linked to developmental disorders because the very genes responsible for building our bodies are being mismanaged. Meanwhile, when the permanent structural guard fails, that can lead to genomic instability, which is a classic hallmark of cancer progression. Okay, so that's the problem. But the good news is we're not just staring at it. We're actively building the tools to fix it. So let's talk about how scientists are now mapping these malfunctions to create brand new diagnostics and therapies. You really have to appreciate the scale of this challenge. Our genome contains 3 billion base pairs. So how in the world do you pinpoint the exact little spots where the silencing machinery has failed? It's like trying to find one faulty switch in a circuit board the size of a city. The answer, like with so many things in modern medicine, is big data. There's this incredible tool called the Human Heterochromatin Database, or HHCDB. Think of it like a Google Maps for the silent genome. It pulls together massive amounts of data, from those histone modifications we talked about to gene expression levels, and lets researchers compare the maps from healthy and diseased tissues. This lets them pinpoint the exact broken switches, paving the way for targeted therapies. And this ability to map the problem has led to a whole new class of drugs, epigenetic therapies. But, and this is a big but, we're still in the early days. Many of these drugs are kind of like using a sledgehammer to fix a delicate watch. They tend to affect gene expression across the entire genome, which can lead to serious side effects. The real next frontier is developing smart drugs that can target specific regions with surgical precision. But hold on, because the story doesn't actually end with gene silencing. Recent discoveries have revealed a completely new and frankly surprising function for heterochromatin, and it's opening up a whole new therapeutic frontier. Right, so we've been focused on heterochromatin's role as a chemical regulator of genes. But what if its physical properties are just as important for a cell's health and its behavior? What if the problem is physical? And this is where it gets really wild. Studies are now showing that the amount of dense heterochromatin directly impacts how physically rigid a cell's nucleus is. A more rigid nucleus can act like a battering ram, allowing cells to push through tissue and migrate more efficiently. The implications of this for cancer biology, especially for understanding metastasis, how cancer spreads, are just staggering. And this leaves us with a really provocative final thought. For decades, we fought cancer with chemical weapons, right? We've targeted genes and proteins. But if the physical state of chromatin can actually control a cancer cell's ability to spread, could the future of cancer therapy be physical, not just chemical? It's a whole new way of thinking about disease, all thanks to the genome's silent partner.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, press the bell icon button. Thank you.